Despite the global interest to gain his services, teenage sensation KAI Sotto is also headed to Adelaide for NBL 22. At just 19 years of age, the 7'3" centre is considered Asia's next big thing in basketball as he looks to become the first Filipino drafted into the NBA.
KAI Sotto mapapasabak na muli sa NBL at KAI Sotto scouted na ng isang NBA coach. Magandang araw mga idol, kumusta? Tara't saglit po nating pag-usapan ang tungkol sa paparating na laban ng Adelaide 36ers at ng ating pambato na si KAI Sotto sa NBL Australia. Sa martes na mga idol, January 18, 2022, kung sakasakali, mamaya na po yan mga idol. Ang susunod na laro ng 36ers at ni KAI Sotto, yun ay kung di na muli magkaka-aberya ang naturang liga, kung saan ay may mga nauna ng iskegyul ang nakansela dahil sa pandemya. At marami pang parating na laban ang koponan ni KAI, sunod-sunod yun sa mga darating pang araw. Parang nagbabawi po dahil sa tagal na natenga ng NBL games. Makakatapat ng koponan ni KAI ang Perth Wildcats, homecourt nito sa Adelaide Entertainment Center. At dahil homecourt, inaasahang gagawin ang lahat nila KAI Sotto ang talunin ang Perth, miski pa ito ang nasa number 1 spot ngayon sa standing ng NBL sa 2022 season. Dahil na rin sa tagal na natenga ang mga laban ng NBL, kabilang na nga itong koponan ng Adelaide, maging ang ating pambato na si KAI, kung saan ay kagagaling lamang sa injury, kung kaya't kakaunting oras lamang ang ibinigay sa kanya ni Coach CJ Bruton sa kanyang unang laban sa regular season. Kung saan sa kabila ng limitadong minuto, ay nagbigay naman ito ng highlight sa depensa nang sabayan nito ang dambuhalang import ng Cairns Taipan na si Nathan Jawai, dating veterano ng NBA, nang ito'y kanyang ipahiya sa dalawang supalpal, kabilang na ang isang turnover dahil na rin sa matinding depensa sa kanya ni KAI Sotto. Pumamada si KAI ng isang puntos, 3 rebounds, 2 assists at 2 blocks sa 10 minuto nito sa kabuuan ng laban. Sa laban nito sa martes ay inaasahang mapapasabak muli sa banggaan sa loob ang 19-year-old na 7-footer Penom ng Pinas sa dahilang kilala ang NBL sa pisikalan, kung kaya malamang may nakahanda na ang Perth na depensa kay KAI Sotto, kabilang na si Majok na inaasahang itatapat dito sa ilalim. Inaasahang makakabanggaan rin ni KAI sina Luke Travers, 6'7", veterano sa NBL bilang guard at forward, si Victor Law, 6'7" din, at isang NBA veteran at nakapaglaro na din sa NBA G League, at si Michael Fraser, 6'4" guard din ng NBA at NBA G League veteran din ng mga top 3 rebounders ng Wildcats. Bagamat mga guard ang mga ito ay pawang mga athletic at bihasa sa banggaan. Itong mga ito rin ang hahamon sa kakayahan ni KAI sa depensa sa loob at tiyak na babasagin ng mga ito maging sa outside shooting. Sa makatuwid, tulad ng mga napagdaan ng laban ni KAI sa iba't ibang lugar at liga, ay alam naman ng ating pambato kung paano siya lulugar. Lalo na at paniguradong may mga set of plays na inihanda si Coach CJ para sa kanya. Sa mga nakarang interview ng media kay Coach CJ Bruton patungkol kay KAI Sotto, ay namumutawi rin sa mga labi nito ang excitement sa dahilang napakalaki ng tiwala nito sa ating pambato. Dangan lamang at iniingatan niya ito ng gusto upang di ma-injury. Kumbaga ay ayaw niya itong pwersahin dahil mahaba-haba pa ang tatahakin nitong landas sa kanyang karera sa NBL maging sa NBA sakali man.
I thought his effort was good. He attended the offensive boards. He competed and battled. It's not like he's had runs under since that first preseason game. So definitely managing him and not trying to give him too many minutes. You're going to see bigger and better things out of him. and the more he gets comfortable playing. You know, KAI Sotto come back and join our team. Like, we celebrated that. I think to have KAI Sotto join our team, to have Paul Foss come in and join our team who's part of our staff, we celebrated that.
Sa una pa lamang matatanda ang inamin ni Coach CJ Bruton na matagal niya nang inaasinta si KAI Sotto upang ma-handle noon pa lang nang siya ay nasa Brisbane Bullets. At ngayon natupad na yon sa pagiging head coach ng Adelaide 36ers.
KAI Sotto and ran into him and JVG and at the stadium and talked about how he was one of the guys that I wanted to bring to the Brisbane Bullets, and putting his name forward and following a guy like that. And then it gradually grew to meeting Grant and talking with Grant and hearing their vision and their views on where they want this team to go, what they've been building over time and how they see this going forward. And then it became about how do we join this together. If our stars align, then it's good. And if you know anything about my career, and you've seen that throughout everywhere that I've been, I didn't always go there. It wasn't always about the money. It was about winning and being successful, and then doing it the right way. That you leave a place better than when you got there. And if we can all do that, and we can all strive to be great human beings, then we'll go a long way. I like to think every coach has a little bit of how they play in them. As you know, I had a lot of swag on the floor, I like to say, and carry myself a certain way. But you also got to believe and back yourself. And some of these kids, there's that mental challenge of, you know, is there going too much over the top, and is there too much that I know there's more in you? How are we able to tap into that and get that out of you? Because we have the balance of young players and veteran players, and you've got to mix that, and international players, and making sure that everyone feels a piece, feel involved, and that they can grow in this game.
Tatanda ang sinabi noon ng agent ni KAI bago pa man ito tumulak pa NBL Australia ay mayroon ng mga NBA teams ang sumusubaybay kay KAI Sotto at nakahanda itong bigyan siya ng pagkakataon sa NBA. Kaya patunay na lamang ang kailangan gawin ni KAI sa pamamagitan ng NBL bang ito'y maging ticket niya pa NBA.
And congratulate the company on partnering with KAI. I think it'll be a great relationship. I also want to say that I've been incredibly impressed by KAI as a person and how hard he's worked in his training, and the people around him, his family, East West Private. They do an unbelievable job supporting him and providing the avenue that I think is going to be to a great professional future. When KAI was ruled that he was not going to be able to be in the 2021 draft, it was kind of a surprise to a lot of people. As his NBA agent, I had talks with several teams, and he was going to be drafted. Several teams said they were going to draft him. We don't know what spot yet because he hadn't gotten that far. It was still quite a ways to the draft, but obviously that's off the table at this point because he's not eligible for the 2021 draft.
Sa isang panayam kay Phoenix Suns coach Monty Williams, kanyang inihayag ang mga obserbasyon niya sa ating pambato na si KAI Sotto.
I like the fact that he not only spins away from the defense, but he can feel the defender's body. And sometimes as an offensive player, if you can feel their body, you can use that to your advantage because a lot of defenders like to lean on you. Mm-hmm. But he also can see the double team coming. And that's something that a lot of players don't have, is the awareness of the primary defender, but also the awareness of the secondary defender to get away from that aggression and get to an open spot. And then that flip shot is not the kind of shot that you see from a lot of bigger players. So the touch that it takes to make that kind of shot is something that you can't teach. A lot of times guys just have the ability to make those kinds of shots. And guards in the NBA use the floater. I would liken that to somewhat of a floater, just in a different execution. KAI uses a bit of a hesitation and pump fake all in one. So you see that left foot, we call that kicking the door down. When he makes his move, you can see that left foot lift up into the air, and he takes a big step. And then with that big step, there's a bit of a pump fake. And that freezes the defense. And a lot of times when you can freeze the defense, they either foul you or they go by you. And so he uses the hesitation and the pump fake to step through and create more space so he can get to the basket. And again, KAI does a really good job of feeling where the defense is. If you watch the initial move, his left arm goes up, but his left hip is making contact with the defender. And if you can feel the defender in the post, you can get a read on how he's guarding you. So before he even lifts up his foot to kick the door down, he can feel the defender's presence and positioning. And from there, he just uses his skill and footwork. And that hesitation pump fake allows for him to get to the basket. That particular crossover is a bit different. You know, more guys like Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, these bigger forwards are using that crossover. Back in the day, you had to cross over under your knee. But if you watch Kai, he crosses over his hip. And a lot of the bigger guys tend to do that so they can get by the defense faster. And by doing that, if you look at his left shoulder, his crossover creates that room for his left shoulder to get through. And once you get your left shoulder through, sometimes past the defender, it's hard for the defender to recover. You can see number 71, he's trying to contest that shot, but it's because Kai got his left shoulder through right there after that first dribble. It allows for him to get to the basket and get to that floater. And again, you know, it just seems like, especially from these clips, you know, Kai has that ability to make these kinds of shots, whether it be a floater off the post or a floater off of a crossover. Those are the kinds of shots that you work on by yourself in the driveway or at the park when nobody's around, and it looks like it's paying off for him. Well, anytime you face the basket, it allows for you to see where the defense is coming from. I always tell big guys, when they get to that position, face up and take a picture of the defense. Well, not only does Kai take a picture of the defense, he uses the ball fake, and that ball fake allows for makes the defender look for a quick second to his left, and Kai shoots the ball over top. And one of the reasons why he looked is in today's basketball economy, there's so many cutters on the backside. And so the defender probably thought Kai was throwing it to a cutter to the basket. Mm-hmm. Kai used it to his advantage. But I like the footwork. Not only does he face up, you can look at his left foot. He takes like 2 or 3 baby steps to get to his position. Yeah. And we call that testing the water. You know, sometimes you take that baby step to see if the defense is going to react. Sometimes the defender may open up. Sometimes he'll stay still. If he stays still, you can go right by him. And so if you look at his left foot, he takes like 3 or 4 steps, like pop, 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 pop. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times that can throw a defender off, and you can get a gauge on how he's going to guard you. So there's a number of things here. You know, the ball fake, the footwork, the patience, and the ability to take a picture of the defense to see where the double team may come from, to see if it's crowded in the paint. That's savvy. That's a lot of savvy for a young player. Pick and roll, you know, you're going to see 50 of these in an NBA game. And this is the new age pick and roll as I see it. You know, back when I came into the NBA, you had to make contact when you set a screen. And now so many bigs are taught that if they get that primary ball defender to chase over top of the screen, their job is done. And so this is what I would call a slip out of the screen. It's a pick and roll with a pretty dynamic slip. And then the footwork out of it, you know, he opens up to the ball, the ability to open up quickly so he can see what's happening. And it's so important to do that because if the ball handler gets trapped, you can see it. You know, if he slips out of this without seeing it and the ball handler gets trapped, he can't be an option to catch the ball. And then the ability to catch it in traffic is something that I don't take for granted. You know, so now just sprinting into a screen, catching the ball, and then finishing without bringing the ball back down or dribbling the ball, that's something that takes a lot of reps, certainly a lot of experience, and then the angle to go down the lane. A lot of guys take that wide angle, and it allows for the weak side defender to take a charge of it. But if you can judge how the defense is playing, if you look at Kai's angle, he takes more of a direct line to the basket and he doesn't banana hook towards the weak side defense. That puts the weak side defender in a tough spot. And now that guy who's guarding the offensive shooter in the corner, he's got to make a decision. Am I going to take Kai or am I going to stay with the three-point shooter? And all of that is set up because of Kai's ability to dive straight to the basket and that banana hook out towards the defense. Yeah, I'm one, congratulations to your country. I think anytime you have one or two guys break through and you just continue to work and continue to have the enthusiasm and the environment, at some point you could end up being like Canada. You know, there was a time where Canadians, and they're just north of the border, but there weren't that many Canadians who had pushed themselves into the level of, you know, high level college players. And now you see this influx of, you know, Jamal Murray's and Wiggins and all these guys coming from Canada. It's like, wow, it's starting to happen like every year. But well, it started with, you know, one or two guys back in the day. And then the guys in Canada, you know, obviously looking at American players, but they also saw guys that grew up the same way they did, came through the same gyms that they did, and now believe that they can. And so I think if you guys continue with your programs and camps and you know, seeds of fundamentals, just staying with that, now that you have a few examples, you might end up, you know, having your own pipeline, and that's exciting. I mean, think about your country having, you know, 10, 12, 15 guys in the NBA. Like how cool would that be?
Kaya't nakaabang-abang ang pangalawang laban na ito ni Kai sa dahil lang may mga highlights itong patikim sa debut nito sa NBL na nagbigay aliw at tanong sa mga fans, media, kung paano ba talaga ang magiging laro at sitwasyon ni Kai sa kasagsagan ng 2022 NBL season na inaasahang magbibigay sa kanya ng daan para sa 2022 NBA draft sakaling sasali na ito. Sa ngayon, inaasahang mapupuno ng Adelaide ang kanilang home court sa mga sabik na fans ng bawat koponan, lalo na sa panahong ito na kung saan ay naghahanap ng aliw ang mga tao upang saglit makalimutan ang problema sa walang katapusang pandemya. Hanggang dito na lamang mga idol, at kung meron kayong komento o saloobin tungkol sa ating issue ngayon ay komento nyo lamang po yan sa ibaba. Pag-usapan po natin. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pagbisita sa ating munting channel. At sa ating mga bagong subscribers, salamat din po sa inyo. This has been your host, Alex, saying thank you, keep safe, at God bless.
Here's that first possession. Holds position, doesn't let Jawai body him, get him out of position with the left shoulder, and again right.
Minute played in the final quarter. Cairns looking to come up with the biggest. In against Adelaide, and Sotto at the defensive end.